We promised a deep dive into the world of work, and we are going to do that right now. We're going to say a couple of things that might trigger you, terrify you, hopefully excite you. The world of work is changing, and AI is the driving force. It is changing at a rate that I don't think we can wrap our head around. And that begs the important question of how can we stay relevant in this changing landscape? What superpowers do we have that we can leverage to stay marketable in this very rapidly changing world?
And that's why we've brought leading brand strategist, entrepreneur, and author of Hustle Hack, Lisa Alton, joining us in studio for this discussion. Lisa, it's great to have you here because I think something COVID has shown is you can use social media platforms as a form of income. There's been a big shift in the traditional way people work. Young people or anyone utilizing platforms like, you know, your TikTok, your Instagram, Facebook even, going as far as cryptocurrency, they can generate income from this. And I just want to know from you, what are your thoughts on that? Is there sustainability to making income from a platform like social media?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think that it was a mental shift, right? I think a lot of digital income streams have actually always been there. They've just sort of lived in the world of the geeks. Yeah, and more mass population started to go, actually, mentally, I don't need to earn income from only one country, right? Now I can earn multiple income streams, sitting in one place in the world, choose where I want to be and actually earn a lot of those income streams. But I think essentially what we're seeing, and it's always been there, but more so than ever, right, is these two worlds are emerging. Now we have two worlds. We have a physical world and we have a digital world, of which both, by the way, need a lot of power and energy to power up. We're not talking around how much power AI actually needs to generate, which is another whole conversation. So I think what has been beautiful is the fact that, yes, you know, I can create an audiobook and I can drop that on 300 platforms. I'm working with my 10-year-old now to use AI, voice to text, to write a book, get Midjourney to illustrate that, and pop it on. So I think it's going to be around how do we as humans now start to shift out of robotic order taking, and I've said this as a strategist for the last 15 years, right? We don't need to be robots. Yeah, we don't need to be robots. We are the creators.
Feeding off that notion, and I love that reframing of it. How many times a week, Zoe, you must do this all the time, saying, I wish I could clone myself. I wish I could clone myself. So you didn't have to do the menial thing that is sucking up the time from that critical space of the critical thinking. Now AI can clone the menial parts of your brain 5 times over to keep things running. You could have 10 income streams and not even be touching them because you've set AI up to do that for you. How do we embrace this shift? How do we not be terrified that our jobs are going to be taken? Because there's always an overlap where not everyone's going to be able to quickly update themselves to become an AI expert in their job. So where does this leave us right now? How is this change going to happen?
That's interesting because you're talking to a strategist, right? Yeah. Who refuses to do menial tasks. So my life philosophy is spend your time, and this is often why I've had such an issue with a lot of the schooling system, is I don't believe we need order-taking, instruction-based robotic thinking. We need thinkers, we need imagination, we need creators. So I think it's actually about a mental shift around understanding that as humans, we're actually such an incredible design. You know, the fact that we've got these brains that can imagine things, and then all we need to do is take action to actually create our reality is quite phenomenal. So it's about moving beyond thinking we need to do these automated tasks and not being afraid of them. Let the machines do the automation. But we're not going to be threatened because I think until you can put consciousness and imagination into AI, and I'm asking this question whether this can be done, right? Humans will still have the edge.
If they tap into it.
Completely. I think there'll be echoes.
Tap into it.
It's terrifying and it's unbelievably exciting, and that's what it should be. We want dynamic tension in that world of work. We want things to be driving forward. We want people to be thinking critically and disrupting and doing all of these things, but we also want to keep our job or get a job in the South African context. So we're going to talk about how best to present yourself in this changing world, because it might be as simple as your next job hinges on a ring light. Who knows? But it could be that simple, and we'll continue this deep dive into the world of work throughout the show. Stick around.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
It is your feel-good breakfast show. It's Expresso on S3, and we are continuing our conversation with leading brand strategist, entrepreneur Lisa Alton, and this time looking at the 8 laws that Lisa's put forward to her book readers, to her readers in her book about her book Hustle Hack on how to master success in this changing world. I love that we get to unpack some of these laws with you in person.
Yeah, let's move forward now. I love it. Okay, so we're going to run through them. I'm sure you know them very well, but let's start with the power of purpose.
Can I give you guys one of these books?
Yes, please.
This is actually a really fun, creative little piece of content. I'm going to keep one for me. You'll have to share that.
I'll steal it from you.
And it's essentially kind of like a 30-minute read into 8 laws for mastering success in the new world. So power of your purpose, yes. You know, I took a lot of these laws from working with a lot of the world's biggest businesses and kind of crafting my reality from kind of coming from a mining town in Zambia to now working with the world's biggest businesses and athletes and celebs across the planet. And I think the first law around the power of your purpose is the one that we often see creates the most success. But often fear takes us away from wanting to be there, right? And so a lot of people often say, Lise, but what is my purpose? And I say, the thing that nags you in your gut, you know, that thing we all have it, that's your purpose. The fact that we have these unique fingerprints on our hands blows my mind. What does that mean? That means we've all got this unique vibration and these unique gifts to bring to the world. So in that chapter, I talk people through a very simple 3-step process for how to find it.
I love that. I actually opened up to it where your table of contents is Law 1, which then takes you to the power of purpose. Law 2, which is the best learn from the best.
Yes. Yeah, so the best learn from the best. Often as entrepreneurs, we have this idea we want to start from scratch. Why not
no one else
just
can think like me?
Yes, but guess what, guys? Like, there are people that are at the top of their game already. They've done the 10 years of mistakes for you. So go and find the people that are at the top of their category, copycat the clues, and then reframe it. And you will hack so much of your time doing that.
That's
This
so
is transferable across. I love that. Absolutely love that. Imagination and mind map.
Oh, my favorite one. Speaking of AI, you know, I was like the strategist 20 years ago that was like, guys, we're going to have like some real decisions around what we do when robots start taking over the world. Yeah, and so this one really talks to the fact that as humans, I believe our superpower over AI is the ability to imagine and use beliefs that are empowering us and not limiting us. So often we'll go, I can't start my business because I don't have money. But you could start your business if you switched your belief, right? Around thinking you have money. So that's something I do daily, is go, is this belief empowering me or is it limiting me?
And we're very good at putting those barriers up. As soon as we want to procrastinate or slow ourselves down, barrier. I get that.
Yep.
Well, I'm very intrigued. If I had to have this book, reading the 4th law, work with your time, not against it.
Yes, so 2 things about this one, hey, guys. Like, firstly, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. Bezos doesn't have any more than us.
Yeah.
It's just about how we use them. And I think the world, so there's 2 things I talk about here. The one is inaction from distraction. The world is created to distract us more than ever right now. Are you being mindful or not taking action because you're spending your time scrolling and distracted? And the second one is just around, like, can I delegate this? Speaking about menial tasks. I choose to delegate menial tasks so I can spend my time creating, imagining. So it's just about getting really strict around how you're using your time. You know, people often say, Lisa, how is it possible you can do all of these things? Are you in a quantum reality? I'm like, no, I'm just like super mindful on where I choose to put my time. That is aligned to my purpose and my goals and where I want to go.
Not how much time, it's what you do with the time. I love this the most, and it might be the last one where we can squeeze in. For now, create your own galaxy. We do want people to buy the book and read it themselves.
This is
but I love the sound of that.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm really grateful on how it's resonating. So yeah, create your own galaxy is actually thinking I use as a strategist, which is different ways to think of your skill when you're stuck. What often happens when we're stuck, we saw that in COVID, right? Oh, crap, I can't do anything with my skill. I'm just going to go and do a whole new thing.
Yeah.
But you might actually have spent many years becoming a master in that skill. So there's 3 different ways to look at it. How do you use your skill but change your audience?
Ah.
How do you use your skill but do it differently. You were a wedding photographer, could you be a boudoir photographer?
Yeah.
So it's still focusing on your superpower, but just starting to look at things differently in order to open you to so much more opportunity.
Thank you so much. I think you would have sparked a lot of fires just right now. So thank you so much. And we will drive this book as much as possible. I, of course, will steal that one over there.
Yes.
It's a 30-minute read, The Hustle Hack, that is going to, I think, reframe the way that you're looking at the opportunities. And there might be one that's already been engaged in your life that you just haven't seen yet because you got the wrong glasses on. And we're going to continue to do this deep dive into the evolving, momentarily rapidly changing world of work. And it is very exciting. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you so much.
Well done for doing what you are doing. It's amazing.
Beautiful. Good to connect with you.
Thank you.
It's my feel-good breakfast show.
Welcome back. It is your Feel Good Breakfast Show, and yes, we are talking about the workforce and how it's changing thanks to AI, because AI has been redefining the workforce, and it seems like every month we see something new that AI can do, from admin tasks to creating music or art, which often makes us question if it's going to replace the people currently in those roles. Now, we have brought Jess Hines to join us this morning to uncover the past changes over 10 years, shining a light on, on the job losses, changes, and the emerging roles that will shape our future. And we're just going to go through various sectors and see perhaps how people can secure their own future.
Both terrifying and exciting at the same time. I think if you have enough information, it can be very exciting because the possibilities are limitless in that space. If you lack the imagination or don't have a connection to these possibilities, terrifying. So let's start on that side of the scale with the jobs that are predicted to be replaced over the next decade. And we say jobs are going to be changing. I don't think people are being written out of the equation, but the jobs are going to change. So where's that biggest transformation going to happen, do you think?
Yeah, I just want to preface the conversation with exactly what you're saying. I think whenever we have these robots are taking our jobs conversations, it's very scary.
Yeah.
But it's important to know that through every industrial revolution, the workforce has changed. We're in the fourth one now. It's going to change again. But we need to adapt to it. We can't just let it steamroll us.
For sure.
So
Take control.
Yeah.
Take control, yeah.
So let's kick it off with perhaps, driver jobs. I think we are all making use of e-hailing services. It's nice to have a driver, doing that so that you can
Responsible for your safety.
Is that a job that could potentially see a ending or some serious changes happening?
Yeah, so especially with completely automated cars, we are predicting that all driver jobs are kind of at some stage going to be redundant, and that's taxi, that's trucks, that's all of our things, and that's still up to debate if it's a good thing or not. But yeah, that's one of the ones that we are looking at.
And I think it'll be fed off the technology that drives it as well. If you're going to have driverless cars flying over Dubai, which is pretty much happening, it stands to reason that you're going to need computing power to map the sky, and all of that's great. Give it to them, because I don't want a human doing that kind of maths. I want an AI doing that kind of maths. When it comes to checking out, I love in the UK the fact that a lot of those systems are automated anyway. Do you think that's going to take a step up? Will we see salespeople being replaced? So you can just walk up and an AI will tell you what you want in that store based on your Facebook history. How do you think that space is going to work?
It's also happening with retail in general. We're moving towards more e-commerce. A lot of stores have become redundant, so we're going to move more and more towards e-commerce. I don't know how many people are still going to be shopping in the future. We're probably all going to have our little 3D printers printing out our outfits for us. But yeah, a lot of retail workers, any cash handling jobs in general. I mean, we have self-checkouts, we have ATMs, we have all of that now. So
that's something that could also be changing.
I'm thinking about telling my AI what I wanted to make my clothes out of today. It's going to say, Graham, what would you like us to make your clothes out of today? I mean, like cauliflower, please. Like cauliflower clothing.
So that could be dinner tonight. Yeah. Now, how could we see the landscape changing in terms of manufacturing and line assembly workers? Is that a potential category that could see some change?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of happened with the second industrial revolution onwards. Line workers' jobs have changed and in lots of cases become redundant. And as we become better at robotics and better at automation and AI, even the sort of fine motor skills and fine work things that we have could be phased out and replaced as well, and move towards like a much faster production and a better quality.
Yeah, and I think, and obviously then the O&M, the systems behind that can be matched on a much bigger scale, but I think that's where the lowest socioeconomic bracket is most at risk. So that's where we have to manage. Industry leaders need to manage that space so that there is not an entire generation of people sitting at the lowest socioeconomic bracket that are written out of the equation because they can't adapt.
We're really relying on people like our government and our leaders to talk about things like a universal basic income and to protect those people, and we're relying on tertiary educations to educate people currently studying now.
To transcend that, yeah.
Because if you're studying data analytics now, what's going to happen in a few years' time when everyone's just making AI do all the data analysis? So.
Interesting. In terms of agriculture, how could that industry or space be changed up in the future?
So currently a lot of things are changing. A lot of people are using AI and drones to sort of map out crops and work out where the dangers are in terms of pesticides and things like that. And we're going to have maybe some workers being replaced in the future when you have, again, robotics that can now harvest entire crops. Or, you know, maybe we move to this weird vertical gardens where everything's just grown by
vertical gardens.
And, you know.
And it will change. And I was going to ask about entertainment, TV and music, but I'm going to say straight off the bat, no, we are not going to be replaced by AI in our sphere. I think it's just the computing thereof.
I don't know if Descript and those kind of things would agree with you. You're going to have to get ahead of your licensing.
Exactly, man. I'm all for the laws of robotics. I love the fact that we're going to be freeing up our human brains with all of our imagination, our potential, our computing power to do the critical thinking, not just the crunching of the numbers. But it means that the best of us can be transferred everywhere because technology can kind of offset those massive, massive inadequacies that exist in the world right now. So we love it. I'm not terrified. Well, I am terrified a little bit, but I'm equally as excited. Thank you so much. It's awesome, awesome stuff.